The suitcase hit the wet ground so hard that the metal clips burst open immediately. Clothes scattered across the muddy compound. A pair of black shoes landed near the gutter. Chinedu stared at them in disbelief, while rain poured heavily over his face. "Get out of this house!" Mama Ifeoma screamed from the veranda. "You want to destroy my son because of jealousy." "Mama, I didn't do anything," Chinedu shouted back, breathing heavily. "That visa was mine." Inside the house, his father tried to hold Mama Ifeoma back, but she pushed him away dramatically. "You are accusing my son of stealing?" she yelled. "After everything we've done for you?" The neighbors had already begun opening their windows. One old man from the next compound shook his head slowly. "This family don't scatter finish," he muttered. Chinedu's chest tightened painfully. 5 days. That was all he needed. 5 more days and he would have boarded a plane to the UK on a scholarship that could completely change his life. But now the visa package had vanished, and somehow, impossibly, his stepbrother Uche was suddenly preparing to travel abroad instead. Rainwater dripped from Chinedu's eyelashes as he looked at his father. "Daddy," his voice cracked. "Tell them the truth." His father opened his mouth, but nothing came out. That silence broke something inside Chinedu forever. Before this story ends, the same young man standing barefoot in the rain would return years later richer, stronger, and more successful than anyone in that compound could ever imagine. But the person who betrayed him would be the last person he expected to see again. And what happened when they finally met shocked everybody. If you enjoy emotional stories with deep life lessons, subscribe right now, like this video, and tell me where you're watching from in the comments. Chinedu lost his mother when he was only 9 years old. For almost 2 years after her death, the house became painfully quiet. His father, Mr. Okafor, stopped laughing, stopped singing, stopped telling stories during dinner. Then one day he returned home with a woman named Ifeoma. She smiled too much, spoke too softly, and from the first day she entered the house, Chinedu felt uncomfortable around her. "This is your new mother now," his father had said gently. Chinedu looked at the woman silently. Beside her stood a tall, skinny boy around his age. "This is Uche," Ifeoma said proudly. "Your brother." Uche looked him up and down and smirked slightly. From that day, the house changed completely. At first, Mama Ifeoma pretended to care about Chinedu. "Eat more food. Have you done your assignment? Come and greet visitors properly." But slowly, little things started happening. Whenever meat was shared, Uche got the bigger piece. Whenever there was no light, Chinedu was sent outside to buy fuel. Whenever money disappeared in the house, she blamed Chinedu first. "Are you sure you didn't take it? Why were you near my bag? Only God knows what kind of child your mother gave birth to." Her words hurt deeply, but Chinedu endured everything quietly because of his father. Mr. Okafor was a tired man, a civil servant whose salary barely lasted 2 weeks. He hated conflict. Anytime tension started in the house, he would simply say, "Please, let there be peace." But peace never truly came. As the years passed, the difference between the two boys became obvious. Chinedu loved books. Uche hated school completely. While Chinedu spent nights studying with torchlight during power outages, Uche spent time outside drinking and gambling with older boys. Whenever report cards came out, neighbors praised Chinedu constantly. "This boy will make it in life. You are blessed to have him. He will take care of you when you grow old." Every single compliment burned Mama Ifeoma internally, especially because Uche kept failing. One evening after another terrible school result, she exploded inside the kitchen. "You are embarrassing me," she shouted at Uche. "Mummy, the exams were hard." "Shut up." She slapped the table angrily. "Look at Chinedu. Everybody keeps praising him every day. Are you not ashamed?" Uche's face darkened immediately. From that day, jealousy entered his heart completely. Years later, during Chinedu's final year at university, everything changed. One of his lecturers called him after class. "Chinedu, Have you considered applying for international scholarships? His eyes widened instantly. Sir, people like me can get that? The lecturer smiled. With your grades, absolutely. That night, Chinedu stayed awake till almost 3 a.m. researching opportunities using an old borrowed laptop. For months he applied tirelessly. Most applications ended in rejection. Some never replied, but he refused to stop trying. Then, one afternoon, while helping his father repair the fence outside, his phone vibrated. He checked the email casually, then froze. His breathing stopped completely. "Daddy," he whispered. "What happened?" Chinedu looked up slowly. "I got it." His father frowned in confusion. "Got what?" "The scholarship." The hammer fell from his father's hand immediately. "What?" "I got the scholarship to the UK." For almost 10 seconds, nobody spoke. Then Mr. Okafor grabbed his son tightly and burst into tears. "My son!" he cried loudly. "My son!" That evening, the entire compound celebrated. Neighbors brought food. Church members visited. People shook Chinedu's hand proudly. Even Mama Ifeoma pretended to be excited. "God has done it for our family," she said with fake tears. But later that night, she entered Uche's room quietly. "Look at your life," she hissed angrily. Uche sat up lazily from the bed. "Mummy, I beg, leave me alone." "Your mate is traveling abroad while you are here wasting your destiny." Uche looked irritated. "So what do you want me to do?" Mama Ifeoma's eyes narrowed slowly. "There are some opportunities in life that only come once." Uche frowned. "Mummy, what do you mean?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she asked softly, "Where did Chinedu keep his visa documents?" The UK embassy interview went perfectly. When the visa was finally approved, Chinedu felt like his entire future had opened before him. He walked home smiling non-stop. Even his father danced around the sitting room laughing. "My son is going to London." Only 5 days remained before his flight. 5 days. That was when disaster struck. The visa package disappeared. At first, Chinedu thought he misplaced it. He searched his bag, his drawer, under the mattress. Nothing. Then panic started. "Daddy!" he shouted suddenly. Mr. Okafor rushed into the room. "What happened?" "The envelope is missing." Within minutes, the entire house turned upside down. Mama Ifeoma pretended to search frantically. "Check under the chair." "What about the kitchen?" "Jesus Christ." But something felt wrong. Too wrong. Chinedu noticed Uche barely participating. Their eyes met briefly. Uche looked away immediately. A cold feeling settled inside Chinedu's stomach. 3 days later, the impossible happened. Uche announced he was traveling abroad. The entire compound became confused instantly. How? When? Which country? Even Mr. Okafor looked shocked. "Uche, what are you talking about?" Mama Ifeoma smiled proudly. "My son has opportunities too." Chinedu stood frozen. Then he noticed it. The suitcase. His suitcase. The exact one his uncle bought for his UK journey. His voice turned dangerously quiet. "Why are you using my box?" Uche shrugged carelessly. "It's just a box." Chinedu stepped forward. "Where did you get visa?" Silence. Mama Ifeoma crossed her arms. "What kind of stupid question is that?" Chinedu looked directly at Uche. "Look at me and answer." Uche's jaw tightened. Then suddenly he snapped. "Yes, so what if I'm traveling?" The room went silent. "What did you just say?" Chinedu whispered. "You heard me." Uche stood up aggressively. "You think you're the only person that deserves good life?" Mr. Okafor looked horrified. "Uch!" Mama Ifeoma quickly intervened. "Enough!" But Chinedu had already understood everything. His chest rose heavily. "You stole my visa." "Nobody stole anything." "You stole my future." Mama Ifeoma pointed at him angrily. "Be careful how you speak to me. You did this because of your son." The argument exploded instantly. Voices rose. Neighbors gathered outside. Then suddenly Mama Ifeoma grabbed Chinedu's suitcase and threw it violently into the rain outside. "Leave my house," she screamed. And that was the moment the story of Chinedu's suffering truly began. After Uche traveled, the house became unbearable. Mama Ifeoma behaved like she had won a war. Every day she praised Uche loudly on phone calls. "My son is now in London. My son is doing big things." Sometimes she deliberately spoke loudly enough for Chinedu to hear. Meanwhile, his scholarship expired completely. The university abroad replaced him with another student. Years of hard work disappeared overnight. Chinedu entered depression quietly. For weeks, he barely spoke. One night, his father sat beside him outside. "I'm sorry," Mr. Okafor whispered. Chinedu stared ahead silently. "I failed you." Tears gathered in the older man's eyes. "I should have protected you." Chinedu finally spoke. "Daddy, did you know?" Mr. Okafor's face collapsed immediately. That answer was enough. Chinedu stood up slowly and walked away. The next 2 years were brutal. Absolutely brutal. He worked anywhere he could survive. Construction sites, dispatch riding, phone repairs, night security. Sometimes he skipped meals completely. Sometimes he trekked long distances because he couldn't afford transport. Meanwhile, Uche's social media became torture. Designer clothes, snow pictures, expensive restaurants. One caption hurt more than the others. "Some people are simply not destined for greatness." The post went viral among people from their area. Chinedu stared at it for a long time that night, then quietly locked his phone. That same night, while charging phones at a roadside kiosk, he overheard 2 young men discussing coding jobs. "You can actually work remotely for foreign companies. No degree needed if your skills are good." Chinedu listened carefully. Something awakened inside him again. The next morning, he found a small ICT training center. The computers were old, the generator noisy. But he signed up immediately. At first, everything felt impossible. Codes confused him. Errors frustrated him. Sometimes, after exhausting 12-hour shifts, he still forced himself to study late into the night. People mocked him constantly. "You this one again? You think computer will save your life?" But Chinedu ignored everybody. Pain became fuel. Months turned into years. Slowly, he improved. He started building simple websites, then apps, then freelance projects. The first time someone paid him $50 online, he stared at the screen for almost 5 minutes in disbelief. His life slowly changed. Not dramatically, but steadily. One evening around 2 a.m., after uploading a software project online, he finally slept exhausted on the keyboard. Then came the email. At first, he thought it was fake. A Canadian tech company wanted an interview. He almost ignored it completely. But after verifying carefully, his hands began shaking. The interview date arrived. Chinedu borrowed a clean shirt from his friend. The internet connection failed twice during the interview. He thought he ruined everything. 3 days later, his phone rang while repairing someone's phone screen. "Hello, am I speaking with Chinedu Okafor?" "Yes, we're pleased to officially offer you the role." Everything around him became blurry. The woman kept talking. Relocation package, work permit, accommodation support, salary. But Chinedu could barely hear anything. Tears rolled down his face silently. "Sir?" the woman asked gently. "Are you there?" "Yes," he whispered emotionally. "Thank you." That evening he entered the house quietly. His father looked up from the old sofa. "What happened?" Chinedu handed him the printed offer letter silently. Mr. Okafor adjusted his glasses slowly, then suddenly sat down hard. "No." His lips trembled. "No." He began crying again exactly the way he cried years earlier. "God remembered my son." This time, nobody could steal it. Nobody even knew the exact travel details except trusted people. Months later, Chinedu finally left Nigeria legally and successfully. Canada changed his life completely. The struggle was still hard. The cold weather shocked him. He worked endlessly, learned aggressively, built connections, started a small tech company years later. then expanded gradually. By the 7th year, he had become very successful, not celebrity rich, but respected, comfortable, stable. The same people who once mocked him now reposted his achievements proudly online. One day he received an invitation to speak at a major business conference in Lagos focused on African tech innovation. At first he hesitated, then finally accepted. Returning to Nigeria after so many years felt surreal. The roads, the noise, the heat, the memories. When his car arrived at the conference venue, cameras flashed immediately. Young entrepreneurs rushed toward him excitedly. "Sir, we follow you online. You inspire us." Inside the hall, workers moved around arranging chairs and equipment hurriedly. Then suddenly, Chinedu froze. One of the workers carrying plastic chairs looked strangely familiar. The man looked thinner, older, broken. Their eyes met. The chair nearly fell from his hands. It was Uche. For almost 5 full seconds, nobody moved. Uche stared at him like he had seen a ghost. Chinedu looked at the faded uniform, the exhausted eyes, the shame on his face. This could not be the same arrogant boy posting luxury photos years ago. Finally, Uche looked down. "Good afternoon," he muttered weakly. Chinedu spoke quietly. "What happened?" Uche swallowed hard. Life happened. Later that evening, Chinedu heard the full story from another worker. Uche got involved in fraud abroad, lost his immigration status, spent time in detention, eventually got deported back to Nigeria. Now he survived doing temporary event jobs. Karma had destroyed everything. That night after the conference ended, Chinedu noticed Uche sitting alone outside behind the building, head down, completely defeated. For a moment, anger returned. Years of pain flooded back instantly. The stolen visa, the humiliation, the suffering, the hunger. Part of him wanted revenge badly. He walked toward Uche slowly. Uche looked up nervously. "If you came to mock me, just do it and go," he said bitterly. Chinedu remained silent briefly. Then he asked softly, "Have you eaten today?" Uche froze completely. "What?" "Have you eaten?" The question broke him instantly. Tears filled his eyes. "No," he whispered. Chinedu sat beside him quietly. For the first time in years, neither of them spoke. Then suddenly Uche started crying uncontrollably. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "I swear, I'm sorry." Chinedu stared ahead silently. "My mother pushed me into it," Uche continued. "But I agreed. I was jealous. I hated you because everybody loved you more." His voice shook heavily. "And after I traveled, nothing ever went well." Chinedu finally spoke. "You still made your own choices." Uche nodded painfully. "I know." Silence again. Then Chinedu stood up slowly. "Come to the hotel tomorrow morning." Uche frowned in confusion. "Why?" "There's a training program my company sponsors." Uche stared at him speechless. "You would help me? After everything?" Chinedu looked at him carefully. "The greatest revenge is succeeding without becoming bitter." Uche broke down crying again. Weeks later, Chinedu visited his father. The old man looked much weaker now. When they hugged, Mr. Okafor held him tightly for a long time. "I'm proud of you," he whispered emotionally. Inside the house, Mama Ifeoma sat quietly, avoiding eye contact. Age and regret had humbled her completely. Finally, she spoke softly. "I destroyed this family." Nobody answered. Tears rolled down her face. "I was blinded by favoritism." Chinedu looked at her calmly. For years he imagined this moment differently. He imagined anger, victory, humiliation. But standing there now, all he felt was peace. Some wounds never disappear completely, but carrying bitterness forever only poisons the person carrying it. Before leaving, he turned toward his father. "Take care of yourself." Then he looked at Mama Ifeoma briefly. "I hope everybody finds peace." As his car drove away from the compound, neighbors gathered outside watching proudly. The same boy once thrown out into the rain had returned stronger than anyone imagined, not because life became fair, but because he refused to let betrayal destroy his destiny. If this story touched you emotionally, subscribe right now, like this video, and comment below. What belongs to you will never miss you. And remember, sometimes the people who hurt you the most unknowingly push you toward the life you were truly meant to have.